Good morning, everyone. This is Janet Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and we are on video number 11 featuring products that will be released on January 7th in my Stampin' Up! Online store. For my customers and those of you who have requested catalogs, keep your eyes open. These are arriving all over the country, filling your box with some happiness. If you do not have a demonstrator that you work with here in the U.S. and would like a complimentary copy of these two brochures, which is just a small snippet of what's going to be released on January 7th, go ahead and message me with your address so I can get them in the mail to you. So what we're going to be taking a look at in this video is the Delightful Wishes product suite. And a product suite, for those of you that are not familiar with Stampin' Up!, is a coordinated grouping of products designed by the artisans at Stampin' Up! And so in a suite, you're going to find a stamp set. Sometimes it'll be dies, sometimes it'll be a punch, sometimes it'll be two stamp sets with dies or a punch. You're going to have designer paper, and then you'll have extras like embossing folders, ribbon, embellishments, things like that. All of them are a little bit different in the size of the suite as well as the price point. You can order a suite with the Easy I Want It All button. There's a little code that gets you everything in a suite, but also everything in a suite can be ordered individually. So if you're just a paper person that loves fresh, beautiful papers, you can get those. If you don't die cut but just want stamps, you can have those. If the embellishments are calling to you to dress up your projects, you can get just those. So the Delightful Wishes bundle has a lot going on in a good way, okay? So you're gonna have the greeting wishing, and then you have wishing you were here, you all the best, you a happy birthday, lots of love, you well. So wishing you well, wishing lots of love. Then you have some stamped images that work together in what we call multi-step. You always stamp the solid one first in a darker color, or a lighter color, excuse me. You stamp the solid one first in a lighter color, and then you're going to stamp the next one right over top, and that's going to give you that depth and that dimension, that look of shading and things like that. So these two work together. These leaves work on this stem right here. You've got some flower centers here, and then these two work together right here. In addition, you have some dies. And I'm going to explain them to you because they're going to be just a little different. So you're going to be able to cut this stamped image out right here. But what this one does, let's pull my piece of paper out. We're going to do these side by side for a change so that you can see them. So when you stamp this image and then die cut it, the image, you've got three flowers, a flower, a flower, a flower, and a flower. So it cuts them out individually, which is going to allow you to spread them out on the branch how you would like and use them in layers and things like that. So it doesn't just punch out one solid line of flowers, okay? Once you punch it, you're gonna end up with 4 different pieces. So that's that one right there. Then you're also going to have your dies for your different flowers. You're going to have the wishing you. So I can stamp the word wishing and die cut it. I can die cut it and mount it on this solid piece. And you're going to see all of these in action. I'm going to bring them to life for you, okay? So you can just simply stamp the greeting, die cut it. You can die cut the word. It's very thin and fragile and very beautiful. And you can layer then the die cut word onto that. You've got a branch. You've got a piece that just create some openings on your designer paper or cardstock. Here you've got dies that work as 2 steps. You've got your flower, flower center, flower, flower center. You've got 2 leaves, and then you've got some veining for your 2 leaves. This is going to die cut this flower right here after you've stamped it. This is going to cut this set of leaves for you. Then you've got that extra one, and then you have a greeting long enough for both of the long greetings that are part of that stamp set. And just to kind of show you, so you've got the background die and then the die that creates the secondary color, background die, secondary color. Die cut the leaf, die cut the small flower, die cut the multi-flowers, and die cut the greeting. So lots of possibilities with the dies. And then you have this beautiful designer paper. And I should just leave that in there for right now. And this suite actually has vellums as well as designer papers. And the papers are 12 by 12. And they are just beautiful and bright and happy. So these look like zinnias. So you've got your zinnias and other flowers on here. Some more bright flowers for you, your forsythias. Smaller versions, the flowers. We've got the forsythia branches. And then we've got the little ones. And then if we flip this over, we're going to have some amazing solids. So look at the crosshatch in the old olive. Beautiful, nice, dainty print and pattern. This one I've been using the heck out of. I would buy a pack of 30 or 40 sheets of this. It's just such a great neutral. The gingham, of course, I've also been using. I love ginghams. They provide a nice, fresh feel for a background. Another dainty background for you. And then another dainty background. And of course, all of these backgrounds are always designed to mix with what's on the front of your images. Okay, so you're going to definitely be able to mix and match. And then you have some coordinating vellum. And you're going to have 6 sheets, 2 of each design. So you've got this beautiful one here. We have this one. And it's vellum, so it means it's a little sheer, okay? And definitely not as thick as cardstock. And then you have the gingham. And I want to just show you real quick, I had these pieces of cardstock pulled. Just to show you that you can kind of alter the look of vellum based on what you put underneath. So if I slide this white underneath, it's going to totally change that look. Can you see that? If I was to adhere it to white cardstock or layer it onto white cardstock, you're going to totally change the look. Here, I'm going to take some of our bashful blue and layer it underneath, and it's going to make that paper appear darker than what it is as a gingham. And then even taking, for example, some of the crumb cake, you're going to get more of a vintage vibe to your gingham paper and things like that. So you can play around with what you layer it over top of to totally alter the look of it. The suite also has some beautiful daffodil ribbon. And I can't honestly remember the last time we had a really pretty yellow ribbon in our Stampin' Up! Collection, so I was really happy to see this. It's a nice narrow ribbon, gives you some nice dainty bows for your projects. So you're going to have this nice ribbon. And then these really adorable teeny tiny bees. They're tiny enough that they work well in shaker cards, and I've been kind of sprinkling them almost like glitter or sequins. They easily go on with a drop of liquid glue, so they're held on really easy. And because they're tiny and relatively flat, you're not going to incur any extra bulk in your cards and things like that if you're mailing them. So let's take a look at some ideas, and then I've got just a couple of little tips for you. So this card here, I married the new punch, okay? And then we just punched the paper across just to give it that pop. Here you can see how you can die cut the word and then layer it on to the piece that's a little bit bigger, giving you an outline look. We've got the branch die cut. And then the flowers, because again, it's not one solid image, I'm able to put some on top of the branch and some under the branch. And then wishing you a happy birthday. Nice, clean, all white. Now, some of these cards don't necessarily use the bundle, but they use the paper. And again, this is just an example of how that gingham can look totally different here on the blue and then here on the crumb cake. So just using that gingham just to show that off. This was the Storybook Moments, the very first video that we did. And again, just playing around with the paper again, stamping directly on it. You saw this in the bright corners and corner and bloom. So you saw that in that video. But again, that allows that to happen. And again, just one more that's not part of the suite, and then we'll get back to the suite. But just pairing that And using the paper. For me, every time Stampin' Up! Releases new paper, it's a chance for me to explore new color combinations. Colors that I might not put together. And so all of my ink pads end up getting love then because of that investment and inspiration from new designer paper. So just taking a look at those. And yes, there's lots of bright, happy yellows in the paper pack with that. But again, you don't have to use it as yellows. Again, when you have the dies and the stamps, yes, the suite is coordinated. Yes, it makes beautiful projects. But again, you're not limited to that. You add value to that suite, to that purchase, when you find other ways to use it. This is the birthday greeting we stamped in yesterday's video. And I just grabbed this piece from my desk and pulled the colors in from the black happy birthday, and we just did our little branch, playing around with some of the flower centers, and then you can see some of those sweet little bees. Real simple card here. Just took a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece of designer paper, matted it with a 1/4 inch mat. In this case, I embossed "Wishing You" on old olive and then die cut it out. And then "Wishing you all the best." Just nice, clean, and simple. Here, for this card, to make the vellum pop, I didn't put the vellum direct onto the white. The vellum is actually layered onto white cardstock first, so that I got a nice contrast and I got the look of vellum. And then for this one here, I didn't, because I wanted it to have a white background, I simply just stamped only this piece on white and die cut that. And that's how I got the look of white flowers. Again, only using this image right here for this one. And then my tiny little bee again, "Wishing you all the best." Here's another simple one, playing around with different colors again. And in this case, I stamped the branch, stamped the leaves, then I stamped this one. So first stamp, second stamp, third stamp, fourth stamp. So this literally was created by stamping 4 times, building from the bottom up to the top. So what I wanted on the bottom, the stem, what I wanted as the next level, the leaves, what I wanted as the next level was the base for the flowers, and then what I wanted for the top layer was the outline, the definition of the flowers. And then this is just layered white on white, die cut with lemon lime twist, lemon lime, maybe it's not lemon lime twist. Now I'm going to doubt myself because I always say it wrong because we had a lemon lime in years and years ago. But "Wishing you all the best," and then used the little butterflies to dot my eyes. They were tiny enough for that. And then I want to give you 2 tips regarding these 2 cards right here, regarding this piece, okay? Actually, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. So if you look at these 2, I've used it twice. And here, you can kind of see some depth to it, as opposed to this one right here. The difference between this look and this look is this card, the layer is elevated on dimensionals the whole way around, creating that shadow and that depth underneath the part that I caught open. For this one, the blue paper, trying to create the look of sky and like you're looking through that arched window, is glued directly to that blue paper. There's no depth. The only dimensionals are on the flowers. And I had to get my everyday arches back out there because I absolutely think everybody needs to own it. I've said before that if I could only pick one thing, it would be these dies. I absolutely love them. But again, that difference is raising it up allows like some light to get through, creating shadows, and gluing it down flat just presses that cardstock or that designer paper, whatever it is you're putting behind the opening, drawing your eye more to the paper, okay? So, and then these flowers here, I actually fussy cut. I know some of you are gonna put your fingers in your ear and go, I don't wanna hear about fussy cutting. But you know, it can be very relaxing and the results can be absolutely stunning. And when we're talking about these 2 here, let me give you another tip. If you don't have the U-Pick tool, which is basically this base here, and it comes with a couple of attachments. If you don't have the U-Pick tool and then the brush attachment that you can switch out for the little putty piece that's normally here. Oh my gosh, if you're doing detailed die cutting, this is amazing. It also comes with 2 foam mats, and the foam mats kind of act to grip the cardstock. And one of the things, let me just make sure I got the one that cut real deep. It's nice about this is you're just going to give it a roll across, and it just helps start to punch out some of that. Now this piece here, I normally keep in a little aluminum pie tin with a little high side on it, so that way all these little nubbies don't go flying all over my desk. So when I'm doing this over at my die cutting station, this is inside of a metal tin, and then I can just shake them off. Then you have this other little pointy end that is another add-on that you can get. There's so many different attachments for this, guys. And look, see, they're double-sided on this end, the ones that just twist and lock. But you're going to be able to. The other thing that this is nice for, let me pull my dies back in here for just a second, is sometimes your very delicate dies, okay? You're going to get a nice cut, but sometimes when you start to lift it out, it may pull on you, or you may end up actually ripping it, and then you're going to be a little bit frustrated. So these dies have what's called release holes, and if you take the time to push the little point down through the release holes, that's going to start to pop it up. And then if you need to, you can just gently start to lift it then again with the pick tool, and you're going to just slowly peel it, okay? Helping to lift it out. In addition, the other thing is you want to make sure that you always clean your dies. I left this one dirty for a teaching purpose. If you find your dies aren't cutting well for some reason, double check that you've gotten all the little paper nips out of it. You don't want all of those little bits in there, because then you're not going to get the depth into the cardstock with the cutting edge, and it may not cut as well for you. And again, that's this little pointy tool is perfect. And you can kind of hold it up to the light, and you can see what you might have missed. You can also take the brush tool and rub it just a little bit and get anything. But you want to make sure you don't have any of those little paper pieces inside of it with those really detailed ones. So with a suite like this in particular, when you've got your really fine detailed pieces like these, you're definitely going to find the brush tip and the pointy tip extremely helpful in your crafting. And let me just dump this real quick before I make a mess with it. We'll save that piece. And then just to show you a card with all of the flowers layered. And I tried not to do everything in the paper from the suite. It's beautiful. And for those of you getting the catalog, there are lots and lots of samples in that catalog. So I wanted to inspire you with some other variations. So in this case, I kept it extremely neutral. I used crumb cake, basic beige, and white. And then just a nice sympathy card wishing you comfort. And we just used some little sequins in the centers of the flowers. To me, they kind of look a little bit like teardrops, salty teardrops. We've got our bow, but you can just see. And again, nothing stamped. That's just using the dies that would layer. And I thought it was too fussy if the leaves also layered. So in that case, I didn't layer the leaves. I simply left them solid, but just working with some neutrals. So lots of variation for you. And just a reminder again, to mix and match. Yes, the suites are coordinated to give you that beautiful professional looking combination of products that are designed to do just what they do, work well together. But go ahead and go out and use other things. This is actually the Totally Toadstools designer paper, right? This is the arches. This is the new punch coming. Nothing yellow on this card, right? This is our storybook moment. So expand out, playing around with different images, different looks, even different greetings, mix and match. And then take the greetings from the bundle and use them with else. And you'll really pack some wow into your project. So I hope you're enjoying these product preview videos. We have number 12 debuting tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys.